tell me a bit about Juneau Projects practice and how you come to work here?
We've been working together, myself and Ben, for nearly 20 years now. We met just after art school, and we'd made a lot of things that were quite similar at art school. That was one of the first things we started talking about, the work we'd made. And then we went on to start making some music together, and then those music projects became art projects. And music was quite a bonding thing for us initially, and that music side of things, the collaboration side of things, then led on to the work we started making together.
So we've been working together for about 20 years now, and I suppose some of that spirit of the band we were in together has carried on in what we do, and we enjoy working with people and the sort of surprises that come from that way of working. So the opportunity to apply for the residency here at the Burton came up, and it was kind of a dream job for us really. When we read the brief, it was working with the museum, but also with the visitors to the museum, and specifically thinking about the ceramic collection here, which we're both big fans of ceramics, and Phil, as you know, he's got quite a ceramic collection himself, so to be able to kind of work with the beautiful ceramics here has been a brilliant opportunity.
I mean, you've worked with nearly 400 people from all different backgrounds, from different clubs and societies. What is it that draws you to working with other people?
We already collaborate together, so I suppose we're already in that mode of working collaboratively, working with a sort of number of different inputs, and we're really interested in the results that come from having a bit of a framework in place. So in the case of this project, having the publication as the final thing, and putting that as a kind of proposal to the people that we're working with, and seeing what those results are. So the surprises that come from what people do, how they react to quite a simple proposition. Could you make an illustration of one of these ceramics for a book that we're going to be making? Seeing the different ways people approach that, all the things they do that we never would have thought of on our own. That's the key thing about working in a participatory way like this for us.
Yeah, definitely, and there's a kind of joy to seeing what people produce. I think that there's the work you see by artists in galleries, but we feel like the creative impulse is in like everybody really, and it's a really nice chance for us to be able to see what people make and what they produce, and in a way that you can't necessarily see. It may be things that happen behind doors, at home, people's activities, people's crafts that they do in their spare time. But being able to kind of work with people and see the things they make is a kind of real joy for us really, and what drives us to do what we do.
What particularly led you to making a publication?
It's an idea we've been interested in for a while. We really like things like Enid Marx's illustrations of British folk art objects. And we like that idea of something that's in between a guidebook and an artwork. So it's something that's almost like a guidebook format, a series of images of the collection, but it has that transformational quality, I suppose, of it being then filtered through the things that people pick out, the details they like, or the particular elements of the ceramics that they choose to emphasise in their illustrations.
And what have you learned about the RJ Lloyd collection, the ceramics particularly? Is there anything that really has led you to sort of challenge yourselves in looking at that type of work?
I think, yeah, definitely. I mean, we've learned a lot about the, I suppose some of the particular techniques and the kind of the way a lot of the works are very specific to this area in terms of how they're produced, and there's a kind of there's the sort of the craft of them, but there's also the kind of social aspect of them that comes through as well, I think, and that's something we've really enjoyed finding out more about, really, is how these these are beautiful things to look at, but they've also had a function and a purpose, and they've had a place in people's lives, and just hearing kind of stories as we've worked with people about how these ceramics would have functioned in people's lives and how they still do really is it's had a nice parallel, I think, to thinking about this kind of publication that can exist and go out to people and be distributed to people's homes and stuff. It's felt like it's kind of come together quite nicely with the way that these the history of these ceramics really.
And in the publication, there's going to be at least 100 or so illustrations, if not more. I mean, obviously you tried to make room and space for everybody, and they're all different types of techniques. How do you sort of curate something like that?
Yeah, we're in the midst of putting that together right now, so it's been really great getting all the images in and sort of digitising them to work with the printing process that we'll be using. So we're sort of working through them at the moment, seeing which ones work together, seeing which ones will work in groupings, which ones might have their own page, and that kind of thing.
Excellent. And obviously your practice sort of spans across some elements of digital and some elements of very raw physical work and very labour-intensive printing. How do you marry those two things together?
I think it's always been quite a natural way of working for us, really. We tend to we're kind of jack of all trades, really, and it's for us often it's about finding a way of doing something. So we first kind of started working in this way. We wanted to make some embroideries, but we're both terrible at stitching, so we used Photoshop to help us kind of realise the embroidery to a level we wanted it to be, like creating like stitching brushes and things in the tools, and then kind of mixing this kind of physical and digital product together. And I think that's just continued really, and it feels quite natural for us moving between the two kind of things. And I think also embraces like the fact that we do want to work with lots of people on these projects really, so these kind of more digital industrial sort of processes married with this kind of handmade techniques can allow us to kind of work with a much wider audience really.
Thank you very much both.
Thank you very much.